the special intros.
You say hello and welcome to this special episode of Nerd on Nerd.
Hello. Wait, what do I usually say at the start of episodes?
Hello and welcome to Nerd on Nerd.
Do I say hello?
With me, Jack Kempster. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Hello and welcome to this very special episode of Nerd on Nerd with me, Jack Kempster.
Wait, do you say hello or do you just say
I don't
welcome?
think I do.
Do you just
Yeah,
say
I just say welcome. I just say welcome.
Okay, do that then.
Welcome to Nerd on Nerd. Damn it, I got it. That is what I usually say, but I didn't say the special episode.
Yeah.
For fuck's sake. Welcome to this very special episode of Nerd on Nerd with me, Jack Kempster.
And me, Liam Underwood. This very special episode is all about Season 6 of Game of Thrones. There's going to be spoilers, so if you haven't seen it, you might want to watch it before you listen to this.
Yeah, 100%.
So, without further ado, overall, would you say this was a good season?
I don't know. Can we reserve judgment till the end of this?
We can.
Because, so basically, my thoughts at the moment, right?
Okay.
I enjoyed it as I was watching it.
Yeah.
But after the last episode and the episode before it, there were moments where I looked back and I was like, oh, like, I enjoyed it, but was it good? And I don't know yet.
Okay, I wonder if it will be easier to judge after watching the previous seasons. Like, if you were to watch it all in quick succession,
Yeah.
if it would kind of be seen
Hold up,
as better
stand
or
up to
worse.
to the
Yeah,
others.
exactly. Because, okay, so the important thing about this season to know, I think, is that this is the first time where the show has kind of advanced from where the books are.
Yeah. The thing is, though, I was thinking about this yesterday, and
Okay.
I don't want this to be a thing, because I think it would be very easy to look at this season and go, this is the first season that isn't based on the books, that's why things have happened, or that's why it's gone this way, right?
Yeah.
But George R.R. Martin was part of the writing staff.
He was, and he was
So,
also
like,
consulted.
I don't want it to be a thing. I don't want it to be a thing where it, like, because I imagine there are going to be places that are going to be like, oh, that's why it's all gone wrong. And I'm like, but George, like, he was part of it, so let's not blame the writers of the show. I just want that to be sort of clear.
But equally, it could be. So let's say if we decided that the season wasn't particularly good, it could equally be that the next book maybe won't be particularly good for similar reasons. We don't know that.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be interested in seeing, like, or finding out what his process for writing the books is. Because, like, he scrapped that one book halfway through, right?
Yeah.
Was that the book that this series was going to be based on?
I have no idea.
I think it was.
I haven't read any of the books.
Neither have I.
Okay.
I tried, but I ended up reading at the same speed that the TV show was happening. Like, I finished episode 1 and then started reading the book and literally got to the end of episode 1 as I watched episode 2.
Okay.
And I was like, I don't want to be just doing this for the whole fucking time.
Yeah.
So I'm sort of waiting for it to end, and then I'm going to go back and read the books and see,
what's
how they
different.
shape up.
Yeah. That makes sense. Because, from what I can gather, the books do stand apart in that there's a lot more going on in them. There's a lot of stuff
there's more
that's
detail,
cut out.
isn't there? And there's, storylines that we haven't seen in the show.
Yes, even though some are hinted at.
Yeah.
The predominant one I'm thinking of is the Lady Stoneheart storyline.
I don't know about that.
Okay, we'll get there.
Okay.
So I don't want to jump ahead of ourselves.
Alright.
So, let's start then with what you did like.
Okay, we've had a really good death scene, as sort of morbid as that is.
Was that Hodor?
The Hodor death this series
Yes.
was one of the biggest ones
Yes.
to me. Like, I was in tears.
I think it was the most emotional death of the season.
Yeah. Not even of this season. Probably, like there have been emotional deaths before, but, like, Ned is the biggest one in my book.
Yeah.
And then I think Hodor might be the second most emotional one. Like, other people have died, and it's been brutal. Like, the Robb Stark death was particularly bad. The Red Wedding?
Yeah, Red Wedding, yeah.
That was pretty brutal.
The
because of
Purple
the whole
Wedding
pregnancy.
was pretty brutal.
No, because no one gives a shit. Like, everyone liked Joffrey because he was a good character, but no one empathised with Joffrey.
He was my favourite character.
Yeah, but you didn't empathise with him.
Well, I'm not sure about that.
No, Liam, what I'm doing there is I'm giving you an out, because if you say you empathise with Joffrey, that sort of implies you're some sort of psychopath.
I enjoyed seeing him.
Yeah, but it wasn't emotional when he died, because your
I
thoughts
was
weren't
sad.
like, yeah, but you're sad because you're like, we're losing this character from the show.
That's true, yeah.
Not, I'm sad because I legitimately loved Joffrey.
That's a fair point.
Yeah, that's what I mean by, like,
Yeah.
emotional.
Okay.
Like, because, otherwise the Purple Wedding is probably right up there as well for being a game changer for the show.
Yep, and that and the Mountain and the Viper.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, that one was kind of weirdly emotional because like we didn't really get that much time to get attached to the Viper, but in the short time we had,
they did such a good job. Yeah, they did such a good job with that character.
Yeah, they did.
So yeah, Hodor. I'm going to say I think this season had maybe 3 good episodes, and that Hodor death was one of them.
Yeah. What are your other 2?
The last 2 episodes.
Oh really?
Yeah, so the Battle of the Bastards and the finale, which I think was called something like the Winds of Winter.
Yeah, I liked the last episode. Was really good. I'm not sure. See, the Battle of the Bastards is one of the episodes that has put me on the fence about this series.
I can understand why, but I feel like that might step into didn't like more so than like.
Yeah.
Okay, so we loved the Hodor one.
Yeah.
Was there anything earlier that you enjoyed?
I'm trying to remember what happened at the start of this series.
So it kind of started with something that we all knew was happening, which was Jon Snow came back.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And I think this is where the show lost its footing a little bit, because I feel like it became a bit predictable this season.
Yeah, this series has definitely had less twists and turns.
Yes, and
there have been some.
Yeah, I mean, this is the other thing. So when the last season ended, I remember it was very shocking, and I was like, right, I hope they keep him dead. And
yeah, I was in that camp as well.
Yeah, and as the wait between the 2 seasons kind of progressed, it became, and because it was such a hot topic, and because Kit Harington was sort of going around the chat shows and it was constantly being raised, and it was the big question hanging over this season that was like immediately addressed, and I feel like that publicity around it almost helped make it more obvious that this is what was happening. I
mean, there were things that had been seen.
Yeah.
That revealed it was going to happen. Weren't they? Like he was seen on set and stuff.
Exactly. We kind of knew it was coming.
Yeah. My thing is, right, I wanted him to stay. I see why they did it. I also don't think he came back. I don't think it was a decision that was made in between the 2 seasons.
Oh no, it was always planned.
I think like as much as George has a plan for this, which I assume he does, yes. I think it was part of his plan that Jon would always come back.
Well, I think that's why it takes him so long to write the books, because they are so intricately plotted that when he kind of fiddles with one person's storyline, he then has to map out that branching effect it has on all of the others.
Again, though, I'd be interested to see if that's true, because I could see it being true.
Yeah.
But there's also a part of me that pictures him just sort of sitting behind a desk and sort of chucking paper balls against the wall and going, I kill this, I kill him, I kill him, Jon Snow comes back.
I kind of picture him sat in front of a computer, just a blank Word document with just a cursor blinking at him. And
it's just all the names of all the characters, and then he closes his eyes, scrolls through, and then just strikes a couple out and goes, "Oh, I'm killing him this series."
No, I don't even think he's got that far. I literally think he's just got a blank document. This is what his next book should be, and he just doesn't know what to do with it because it's got so big since the last book that pressure is on.
Yeah.
But I mean, who knows? So yeah. I honestly don't remember a lot that happened in the first half of this season because
we got a lot of Arya stuff,
which again felt very nothing-y.
I enjoyed the Arya stuff, but I know what you mean. Like, it didn't feel like it had an impact, especially with the way it was effectively a whole series of Arya training.
Yeah, and we had quite a lot of that last season too.
Yeah, it was unnecessary. Like, clearly they had to stall for time with it.
Yeah.
Because of the way it's all tying in, but it felt like filler material.
Yes. Because I think the other thing is, last season ended with a lot of things up in the air. Because you had Sansa and Theon escaping from Ramsay. You obviously had the whole Jon Snow stuff. I can't really remember what was happening at King's Landing when we kind of left the season last year.
It would have been the High Sparrow starting to he'd done a lot of the,
yes.
He made her do the penitent walk.
Yes, that was one of the final things, wasn't it? The Walk of Shame. That's right. So yeah, a lot of kind of control has been given back to these characters this season.
Yeah.
Which is fair enough. It's about time, and it's interesting that this is the first season where the Starks have actually started to win. Yeah.
See, here's my thing with all these characters getting control back, right?
Yeah.
The thing that I've really enjoyed, because I genuinely, before we've recorded this, like last night, I honestly spent a lot of time like going through it in my head and trying to figure out what I felt.
Yes.
And one of the big things... So basically this series has ended with 3 big factions, right?
Yep.
because you've got the minor factions, like Littlefinger is still a player, and you're still unsure about what he's going to do. But you've got the three main factions, which is Jon Snow and Sansa in the north, Cersei in King's Landing, and Daenerys.
Yes.
Right? So, and what Game of Thrones has been really good at for all the other series is, I think it's going to do something, and instead, that character's storyline falls apart, and instead it turns out that it's actually this other thing happening, right?
Yeah, so there was a perfect example of that this season, which was, we all thought that Cersei would do trial by combat, and she'd have the mountain fight for her.
Yeah.
And then they cancelled, like they outruled that within the kingdom.
Yeah, see, I get what you're saying.
But that's like the only time it felt like they really did that this season.
But even then, that's a good example when you look at it as that.
Yeah.
But it's actually the issue with what happened at the end, which is her taking over power, because that is predictable. They've set up a bad guy in one camp, a good guy in the north, and then we've got Daenerys who, sort of, I think is going to end up siding with Jon at some point.
Possibly, yeah. I mean, that seems the logical way. I could easily see
the show ending with her taking the south and Jon taking the north.
Yeah, I mean, considering it is called A Song of Ice and Fire, it makes sense that he represents ice and she represents fire.
Exactly, yeah. So it's kind of like, so to me, even though that stuff of like there were twists and turns in getting them there, the fact that we've ended in a situation which to me seems quite mundane for Game of Thrones, which is just three characters that are running stuff. I'm like, I don't know, it kind of feels wrong.
So almost. the one I think unknown point in all that at the moment is the White Walkers.
Yeah, I mean they're the big thing that I'm still putting. Like, I've still got faith that that's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I mean, that'll be the biggest shake-up.
Yeah, we saw glimpses of them this season, but I mean, you consider how much last season we saw. Like, one of my favourite episodes was Hard Home.
Is that the one where you get that scene at the end of them sailing away and all of the dead just standing there?
Yeah, after, like, a huge fight with the dead that just seemed pointless because they just kept raising more.
Yeah, because that scene specifically, just all of those dead people silently standing there, was such a good scene.
Yeah, and when I say that seemed pointless, I don't mean like the scene seemed pointless. I just mean their fight against the dead.
The fight was because it's just endless tides of dead people.
Exactly, it was fantastic.
Yeah.
So that I say is the one unknown at the moment. But what I'm wondering, and I want to throw this to you, is do you think, when you think about it, when we start this show, like way back, think of it like a puzzle box, right? We chuck out all the pieces, and obviously the further and further we get, the more pieces start falling into place. So that picture that we're trying to build starts coming into focus better. So do you think that's why it's becoming a bit more predictable now, because more pieces are falling into place?
I get what you're saying. I don't know. Like, maybe that's it. But it never, like, it always seemed to me that the whole like point of this show was, especially after things like the first series was really good at establishing that Jaime and Cersei were evil, right?
Yes.
Like that first series, Jaime shoves Bran out of a window. You're like, oh, okay, Jaime's the bad guy. Got this. He's like the evil right-hand man. Sorted. And then immediately after that, they make you like fall in love with Jaime and think that he's this hero. Like,
it's after he gets imprisoned, basically.
Cersei as well. Yeah. And Cersei as well, though. Like with was it last series? Or even the beginning of this series, where you suddenly realise that pretty much her entire thing the whole time has been she just wants her kids to have good lives, and that's like her big deal.
So I think that's what they've done quite well. Is you get these characters who you're introduced to, and you very quickly make your mind up about them. But then, as the show has progressed, the characters have evolved, and suddenly, as they've built those characters, you can empathise with them more. You can see why they're doing what they're doing. So with Cersei, for example, while what she is doing is quite bad, you see why she's doing it.
Yes, you can understand why she makes her decisions.
Exactly. It's
not
like
necessarily that you agree with them, you just understand that maybe she's not just doing bad because she's bad.
Yes. It's like, I'd say the only character that they didn't really do a good job with
Joffrey?
No. Even Joffrey, you understood why.
Really?
Yeah. Joffrey, it's because he grew up spoiled and kind of everyone pandering to him. So he just got really entitled.
But I never felt like you the other characters that were bad, you empathise with.
Yeah, so with Joffrey, I feel like it's not necessarily you empathise with him, but I can see why he got there. The one character that I think they didn't do a good job with was Ramsay Bolton. He was just evil for the sake of it. There wasn't really a whole lot of reasoning behind it.
No, they tried to with the whole, his dad is like sort of dragging him along with the promise that maybe he won't be a bastard and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Like, the actual torture and stuff
Yeah, it was
There's
excessive.
Yeah.
And I know some people had a lot of issue with how much the show seemed to delight in showing that. For me...
Oh, really?
Yeah, it came up a lot, especially, I think it was last season, when there's a scene of him, really controversial scene last season, where he raped Sansa, and the camera focused on Theon, and they were saying it takes agency away from her, and places it with a different character, and that's troubling. Which I get, and I do feel like that scene was maybe mishandled, but for me, I never had issues with the amount of torture they were showing with Ramsay. Like, the whole stuff with him and Theon, I found fascinating, the way he broke that character down.
Yeah. I think because that's what Ramsay was sort of meant to be, right? It's like Sansa says it before that battle. She's like, because Jon thinks he's predicted what Ramsay's going to do.
Yeah.
And Sansa's like, no, you don't know him. That's how he does it. He makes you think you know him.
Yes.
And then he's actually getting you to do what he wants.
Yeah, exactly. So, like...
Which, I honestly loved Ramsay. I thought he was really good. Like, again, it's the Joffrey thing, though, where I'm like, I love him, but I get why they killed him. And
I mean,
also, I'd never want him to win. I don't want him to become king of Westeros.
No, but like Joffrey, I enjoyed seeing him. Just because I think when you have someone that delightfully evil who enjoys, their acts of evilness... It is compelling to watch.
Yeah, there's something weirdly fascinating about it.
Yeah, and you kind of you want to see what he does next. Like, how's he going to top the last thing he did almost?
Yeah, because that scene with the younger Stark brother...
Recon?
That's it. Mm-hmm. That whole, that scene was fucking great.
Yeah.
Because you expect him to kill him, and you're like, oh, I see where this is going, and then instead it's like, no, you have a chance.
Mm.
So,
one of the things I saw commented about that scene was they were saying... what a bad shot Ramsay is, and how that final shot was just lucky, and the way
it's deliberate.
I saw that scene as he was very deliberately missing.
No, 100%. I don't even think that shouldn't even be in question. There's a bit where he looks at the guard to his right,
and then
just
fires,
stares at him and releases an arrow because he's deliberately not killing him.
Which I thought it's just the perfect way of like a predator playing with his prey.
Yeah. He's like a cat killing mice.
Yeah. So okay, let's keep with the things we liked.
That is something I liked.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So we keep with that theme. That Battle of the Bastards episode.
Yeah.
All of the stuff in the north, I thought was really good.
So why did you like it? What made you like that episode?
One of the best battle scenes we've seen on TV ever. Really thrilling, engaging. Now, the issue that I see with it is, yes, the outcome is predictable, and I do feel like Jon Snow shouldn't have won that. Like, Ramsay had the numbers against him. He had the advantage. The only thing that Jon Snow really had going for him that Ramsay didn't really know how to deal with was a fucking giant.
Yeah.
So...
that was my issue with that episode. I just don't...
But when watching it was thrilling. So while I didn't like the outcome, everything leading up to that... Basically, everything leading up to when they breached the gate of Winterfell, I thought was fantastic.
Really?
Yeah, so the battle scenes, Jon Snow being suffocated under the sea of the pile of bodies. And fun fact, we have some commentary on that. Well, not commentary. What's the word I'm looking for? When someone writes in correspondence.
Yep, there we go.
We have some correspondence. Kat Fyson said one of her favourite things about this season was the trauma of Battle of the Bastards when Jon is getting crushed by all the dead bodies. She thought it was epic.
Yeah, that bit was good.
Yeah, because it's so hopeless.
Yeah,
and I do think that battle scene did kind of do a good job of just showing the confusion of a fight like that. Where
right. See, the thing is, right, they get the confusion right.
Yeah,
but my issue with I don't know. I think it might be just from years of playing games like Rome Total War and shit like that, and reading books about fantasy warfare. Mm-hmm. But at this point in my life, I am aware that spears beat horses. That's how it works, right? If you set up a wall of spears, horses traditionally do not like to run into them. Yeah. Maybe because horses have a sense of self-preservation. I don't want to put what horses think. I'm not a spokesman for horses.
You're not a horse whisperer.
I'm not, Lynn. You're aware of this. I'm aware of this.
You heard it here first.
Here you go, listeners. I can't speak to horses.
Okay.
But, so when I see a scene where, Jon immediately fucks up by running out anyway. I get why he does it. That bit I understand. What I don't understand is why they send their horses in first.
Yes.
Both sides. That doesn't make any sense to me. Why would you pit your horses against each other? if Ramsay knows that Ramsay was being very cold and calculating that whole time, so I don't understand why he didn't set up his spears in such a way that when they did the inevitable charge, his spearmen would have just beaten the horses.
Yeah. Well, one thing I did like before the battle was you had a brief sort of confrontation between Ramsay and Jon, where Jon challenges him to a trial by combat, like a one-on-one fight.
Yeah, that was.
And Ramsay was like, "I've got the numbers. I've got the ground advantage. Why would I agree to this?" And Jon Snow was like, "Because when you go back and your men find out that you didn't, they know that you're not willing to fight for them," which I thought was quite a smart play.
It is.
But then, like you said,
Ramsay's legitimately making the smart decision there.
Oh yeah, definitely. But
I imagine if you were actually in his army, I don't think anyone would go, "Wait a minute, Ramsay didn't challenge this barbarian to one-on-one combat when we have a 5-1 advantage."
Always considered by one of the greatest swordsmen in the North, I think.
Yeah. And they play it with the whole Ramsay, you can see that they're meant to be showing that Ramsay's kind of a coward in that scene, because he does do the whole he sort of pauses a bit.
Yeah,
it felt like. And I was like, no, you're making the right decision, Ramsay. Don't worry about it. If anyone judges you, be like, yeah, what? We have a huge army. What are you talking about? Why would I risk this?
But I did enjoy that tactical kind of element to that part.
Yeah.
But like you said, that's just completely undone when they're just like, let's throw horses at each other.
Yeah, and then surrounding, I love the scene with the press and showing that whole, everyone's crushed together.
Yeah.
And how that is an issue, people just getting crushed to death by their own side.
Yeah.
But surrounding people and then slowly marching into them is not a good strategy.
No, but I think not a good strategy, no, but it does make for a visually exciting scene.
Yes, it does. So I'm aware that it's my issue.
Yeah.
I'm aware that it is my issue that I know enough to know that's not a good idea.
Yeah, you're coming at it from a tactical, what you would do if you was a general.
Yeah, exactly. It is literally I've just seen too many things like that, or played too many games where I have to make those decisions. So I'm like, why is he doing this?
Yeah.
But I get that it is much better TV. My Way is not as interesting TV, I imagine, as that.
Yeah.
I don't know, but that just was something that I think that was one of the issues I had with that episode, was just I was aware of some of the mistakes.
Okay, fair enough.
Well, not even mistakes. I don't want to call it mistakes because I don't want to sound like I'm a fucking expert.
Yeah. But what you would consider a mistake, maybe.
Yeah. What seemed to me to be a tactical mistake.
Yeah. So the other episode that I really liked was the last one, the finale.
Yeah.
Which I thought probably one of the better finales the show's ever done.
Yeah, because traditionally the finales are...
Episode 9s tend to be where lots of exciting stuff happens.
The actual last episode is them sort of rounding things off, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Although we didn't get that last series.
No, so last season, again, was very exciting.
Yeah.
And I think when we were discussing this, I was saying to you, my concern by the end of last season was that the show feels like it's becoming more... I don't know the right words for this, but more TV-ified.
Yeah, I know what you mean. They're making it more like a TV show because it hasn't traditionally followed the usual structures.
Yeah, and last season it started to, particularly with the finale, and it's really carried on into this season, very evidently, I think.
I'm fine with the last episode being the finale. I'm fine with that. But I do know what you mean, and I get your concerns.
Yeah. What I would say, so how I said, the last season, we kind of knew what was coming next. What I feel at the moment... I don't have a clue where they're going to take this next, because I think there's some very obvious paths they could go down.
Yeah.
It would be disappointing if they took them, and I don't think it's as obvious as Jon Snow coming back. So I'm very much what are they going to do next?
Jon Snow's coming back to life thing.
Yeah, so I'm very much what are they going to do next?
Yeah, which is good. I like when the discussion about the next series is oh my god, I actually don't know what's going to happen.
Exactly.
Or because there's obvious stuff clearly the next series is going to have Daenerys in Westeros again.
Finally. Because
we're coming towards the end.
Yeah, 2 seasons to go.
Going to make it. Yeah, so there's no way that they're going to do a series of her on a ship.
Yeah, so what I've heard is there's 2 seasons to go, but whereas we traditionally get 10 episodes a season, I think we're going to have maybe about 15 episodes split across the next 2 seasons. So one season will get 8 and another will get 7 episodes.
Which I'm fine. Clearly, they've made that decision for a reason.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with it.
I do feel
and I can't imagine it's we're not getting the views.
No, I do feel after this previous season, where I'd say at least half of the episodes felt a bit like filler.
Yeah.
I'm pleased that we're not just getting more filler episodes. What worries me is if they're already struggling to fill 15, if we start getting like another 5 filler episodes next season.
I'm sure we won't, though.
I mean,
like you say, there's so much that there's still got to happen.
So, how did you feel about the finale?
I liked the finale. I think it was better than the Battle of the Bastards.
For me, it was on par, but yeah, I see where you're coming from.
My only issue with it was that I really liked, and I think I might be in a minority here.
Okay.
But I really liked what they were doing with the High Sparrow.
Yeah, I think you are in the minority there.
Yeah, I get that. I think it's because I like the idea of these like huge religious, like evil religious groups that are like, you know, having inquisitors and all
fanatics.
That sort of stuff. Yeah, I love that shit. I find it fascinating.
It is, but it's also infuriating when they're like meddling with characters who you want to see be badass.
I disagree.
Yeah, I honestly had no love for the whole religious aspect of that. Like, I just found it very frustrating, and I just couldn't wait for them to kind of get rid of them.
Yeah, but see, this is my thing, right? Even if you don't like it, does it not feel kind of like a waste of 2 series now? Because we've had this build-up of the Sparrows. Yeah. And then literally, the whole Sparrow regime ends in 1 episode.
Yeah, well...
Like, to me, that's felt so... Like, hopefully... the thing I'm hoping is that there will be, like, splinters left. Like...
The thing is,
there's... still cause trouble.
There's a lot of stuff that was snuffed out in this episode. Like, a lot of, what felt like ongoing plot strands. So, not only did you have the Sparrow stuff, which, like you said, feels like there was more to it, Marjorie definitely had a plan that we're now never going to see come to fruition.
Yeah, but see, at least her one leads on to something, because it's led on to the Dawn alliance.
Yeah, her death has, but we...
No, but that's what I mean. So that's forwarded something. Like, it's not like that... It's not like the chain of House Tyrell has ended, because there's more.
But I was very
the Sparrows,
curious.
There's nothing left. We haven't been given... It's not like...
I'm actually okay with that, though, because I was...
I know you are. I'm saying,
them.
Though, but does it not feel weird that it's literally... It wasn't a good ending to a storyline, even if you don't like that storyline. I'm not saying you had to enjoy the storyline. Yeah. All I'm saying is, does it not feel weird to you that Game of Thrones has ended a storyline in that way?
No different to them kind of ending the Ramsay storyline.
But the Ramsay storyline felt like it was done. Like, at this point, he had taken over the North. Yeah. Like, what was left for Ramsay... Like, we all knew he wasn't going to become the king.
No.
Right?
But I don't think that was ever his plan, either.
No, I don't think it was. Yeah. But it felt like that was an end to it. Yeah. Whereas the Sparrows was very sudden.
Yeah, I get that. I get what you're saying.
Like it was ending.
I just don't think it bothered me at all.
I know that it didn't bother you. I'm not saying it should have.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, does it not feel weird? Like, because is it not slightly worrying that they can do that? Because what if there's others? Like, for all we know, Tyrion's ship is going to sink, and they're like, well, we were done with Tyrion. I know they won't, because I'm pretty positive he's going to be a pretty core part. But
I think I do think he'll go before the end, though.
Oh yeah. I think he's going to die.
Yeah. But yeah, so I really liked the opening of this episode, the finale. The music I thought was great. Yes. The way they showed everyone preparing for the trial.
Yep.
Fantastic. And then obviously the outcome. I just thought the opening was brilliant to this episode.
Yeah, there was some really well done scenes in this episode.
Yeah.
What's the cousin's name? Laurie? No.
Lancel?
Lancel, yeah.
Yeah.
The scene with Lancel crawling through the underground tunnels was fucking so well done.
Yes.
Like, as it was going on at the same time as the court scene.
Yeah. And the way the music was building as well.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, and the fact that like Marjorie sensed and figured out something was wrong, and then you get that small glimpse of hope that she'll be able to get out, and she's stopped.
Yeah, yeah.
That was just... her... dying. I think we all knew that the High Sparrow was kind of going to get taken care of somehow.
See, this is one of the things, though, because I had hope that they might do because he's been so religious the whole time, right?
Yeah.
And there's always been like a hint that maybe it's not true. Or at least it's always come across to me that maybe he's not as religious as he's saying, or maybe there's ulterior motives.
Yeah.
And then it's sort of that last episode, they just sort of went, actually, no, he is just a crazy fanatic, because... You get hit them going, we're all going to, or something bad's going to happen, and he's like, the God will save us, and you're like, right.
Yeah.
I don't know. So that's I think that might be my issue, maybe, is I wanted there to be, like, more...
Okay.
I love more ulterior motives. I like when people are lying.
The other character that I thought was quite interesting, just snuffed out, I can't remember his name. The older guy, right, who we see in this episode, he's having sex with a woman.
The Grandmeister.
Yeah. He's a really interesting character because we've seen that he puts on this old doddery performance, but we've never really seen why.
But that was played for laughs. That scene.
Yeah, but I mean, so there was a really good scene in a previous season where I think it was Tywin saw through his act and called him out on it.
Yeah.
But we've never really seen kind of why he does that. Like, is it just so people underestimate him?
I think that's what it's meant to be. But that's not like, I don't know. That's not something I'm like fascinated by.
I really was. Ever since there was that episode where he gets out of bed and he starts doing his like jumping jacks and stuff. Yeah. Ever since then, I was curious. Like, it was
played for laughs. Like, that scene specifically was the one I was thinking of.
Yeah. I was just...
Like, that was played to be like no one went, oh my goodness.
We
all just went, oh,
like,
you cheeky swine.
Yeah, but like you were saying with the High Sparrow, it felt like there was more there that was going to play out at some point.
He's been in it for 6 series.
He has. And like, exactly, this is the thing. This episode just completely eradicated what felt like there was a lot more there. So the High Sparrow, him, Marjorie, that, and like a lot of the Tyrells really went up.
All of them except for the grandmother.
Exactly. That all felt like there was stuff still to be done.
Yeah.
So I think it was a bold move, but also predictable.
Yeah.
Because they really laboured the point at the start of the previous episode where we had a very unnecessary scene of Tyrion reminding everyone that there's wildfire buried under King's Landing.
That's true, yeah.
And as soon as that happened, I was like, right, well, that basically confirms what's going to happen.
Yeah, fair enough.
The stuff in the north, I thought was fine. I really, really like Lyanna Mormont.
Yes, she's fucking great.
Yeah, we've had like 2 scenes of her this season, and I hope we get more, because considering her age, that actress really holds her own against what I imagine must be some pretty intimidating guys.
Sorry, what?
Like, she holds her own against what I imagine for her must be some pretty intimidating looking guys.
I don't know if that's how acting works, Liam.
I mean, they're made to look intimidating.
Also, I don't know how old she is. I don't think she's like 4.
No, but I'd say she's, you know...
I think she's old enough to understand the concept of acting, though.
I think she's quite young.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, she's impressive.
But I know your opinion of kids, and I think you misjudge them based on how you think of them.
Well, I generally hate children actors. So the fact that she's impressed me
but that's what I mean. So you don't care about kids at all?
Nah.
So I imagine you have no idea how kids work.
I try to kind of let them do what they want to do and not get involved.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, I don't know.
But she was great. We're in agreement there.
She was great.
The stuff with Daenerys, it just felt like finally, you know? Like, I wouldn't say it was particularly brilliant. It's about time we got to that point with her.
Yep. Here's something, right, that I just want to quickly bring up.
Yeah.
I sent you a message when I saw it because I found it really weird. Mm-hmm. And it's clearly just an oversight on someone's part. But they send Varys off to...
he goes off to Dawn.
Yep, to sort out this alliance.
Yeah.
Like, clearly they're trying to sort of work together.
Although, can we just say, right, so Dawn, bloody annoying place. Like, when we saw it earlier this season, I don't think anyone really cared. And this episode, to make Dawn interesting, they put that grandmother there, and that worked. It was the first time I was actually interested in anything that was being said in Dawn. Because the way she cuts down those bratty children...
That was really good, yeah.
Excellently written.
Yeah.
Sorry, you were saying.
So they send Varys there.
Yeah.
We get a scene of him going. That's fine.
Yes.
Like, all good.
Yes.
But then we also get a scene at the end of the episode where we see Daenerys on her boat with Tyrion.
Yeah.
And all her little team.
Yeah.
And Varys is there.
Yeah.
Which the implication there would be that they sent Varys away. Mm-hmm. He came back, but the time period that he came back in must have been after the Tyrion-Daenerys conversation.
Yes.
Because, like...
But there are also Tyrell ships in her fleet, so I'm just assuming that he was boarded one of those ships and got back to her.
Yeah.
That's how I'm receiving that.
Were there Tyrell ships?
Yeah.
I didn't notice them.
Yeah, so because his whole plan was to basically form an allegiance with Dawn and the Tyrells.
An alliance.
Yeah. Is an allegiance not the same thing?
No, different words.
What's an allegiance?
My allegiance would be who I'm, like, sworn to.
Okay.
So, like... My allegiance is to Britain, that kind of thing.
Right.
I don't have an alliance with Britain.
Okay, so alright, so he's made an alliance with Dawn and the Tyrells.
Yeah.
To bolster Dany's numbers, as if they really needed more. Because she has a pretty formidable army.
Yeah.
And now it's even bigger. But yeah, so I just thought he got on one of the ships and joined that fleet before they all set off.
It just interests me, the timelines of things.
I'd say this season particularly has done a pretty poor job of establishing how far away everything is, because it did feel like in previous seasons it took characters time to get to where they needed to go, and we saw that journey. Whereas this season you had like Jaime just popping off to River Run and then popping back to King's Landing in time. You had a lot of characters just seem to be like Arya, for example, managed to get away from Meereen. Was it she was in?
Yes.
Back to Westeros.
Her one I can understand, sort of. Like they can get away with it because there's no comparison. Like in Meereen, there wasn't anything happening to imply.
No, but we know that she would have had to sail to get back, which we saw.
No. So what I'm saying is, when we see any scenes of her in Meereen, there's nothing that no one came past and went, "Can you believe this has happened?" Like there's nothing to match those times up.
No,
but with the various scenes, you have a time period because you see him leave one and arrive in another.
Yeah,
so I get what you're saying. I agree that Arya stuff, like they haven't done well on time this series. But I can see how they thought they were going to get away with it with the Arya stuff.
Yeah, but a lot of characters as well. I think had that problem.
That's what I mean. I think they tried to do it with everyone.
Yeah.
And there's only a couple that they could have got away with.
Yeah, and obviously they're doing it because of time constraints.
Oh yeah, 100%. But it's TV magic, right? They have to get them to those places.
But because they've been so careful with not doing that in the past, now it is noticeable. Yeah,
because we expect a certain level of stuff in Game of Thrones.
Exactly.
So when it doesn't happen, you're like, oh,
yeah. What? You did mention briefly a scene between Tyrion and Dany, and I have to say that again, just. Not so much the scene was good, it was just really, really well acted, particularly Peter Dinklage.
Yeah. He's just great, though.
Yeah, he's always great. Yeah. What he does really well, I think, is he brings a lot of humour to the show in a way that is subtle enough that it's obvious jokes and whatnot, but it doesn't feel... there was a scene earlier on, right, where... I think it was some Dothraki or someone. There was a group trying to impress Daenerys, and it felt like there was two men, right, and they were both doing jokes about her. Maybe they weren't trying to impress her. Maybe it's when she was enslaved.
Yeah,
and they were doing jokes about her, and it literally felt like an open mic night, and it wasn't a good quality of humour.
Yeah, that's the scene where she gets taken by the cow.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. And it was just really awkward and just really not funny, but it was trying to be funny.
I don't know. See,
it felt like that to me, at least.
I think sometimes, I don't know, because you might be right on that. Like, it could be that they were doing it that way. Yeah. And clearly it's made to be their opinion of funny.
Yeah.
But I also get why, because I think they were trying to sort of set up those characters as much as those characters weren't in it for more than an episode.
Yeah.
I think they were trying to sort of establish I think it's their way of trying to do... a very quick, this is who this character is.
I get that.
Because they were setting it up as, like, the cow was kind of the reasonable one.
Yeah.
But his like, generals were kind of douchebags.
Yeah. But what we had later, it was either later in the episode or the next episode, is we then had a scene with Tyrion, which was very funny, but a lot less in-your-face jokes comedy. It's because
Tyrion's fun. Tyrion isn't... He's not a character put in there to be funny. He's a character that is funny.
Yes.
And like one of his character things is that he uses humour as a shield.
Yeah, and I think
so. Like, it makes sense when he makes jokes. When it's obvious, or it's very noticeable when a show puts a joke in to be funny.
Yeah,
it's less obvious and grating when a character is meant to be funny or sort of kind of jokey.
Yeah, like another scene that I thought was really good was the scene where Tyrion was trying to drink with Grey Worm and I can't remember the translator.
Yeah.
And he's trying to get them to like loosen up and tell jokes. And again, it's an obviously comedic scene, but it doesn't feel that obvious because it's acted so well.
And it makes sense for his character to be doing
exactly. But yeah, apart from, I say that the only thing in the finale that didn't quite work for me was Sam's storyline, and he's one of my favourite characters. But it didn't have to be in the finale. It could have easily been in the episode before the last one.
Yeah. It's also another thing that kind of comes across as a bit obvious, in my opinion.
In what way?
It feels like a very cliche. So it feels cliche to me. There's like fantasy tends to have somewhere in the world there is a vault of knowledge, right?
Yeah,
that's a sort of classic fantasy thing. There's always a great library. Always.
Yeah.
Right. And then it's also really obvious to have the sort of not caring desk clerk.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think this
really
is right.
snooty.
We haven't been told about this.
Yeah.
No women and children in this library. Like, it just felt so... It was another thing that I was like, oh, Game of Thrones, you're good at not doing these cliches.
Yeah. So,
and it feels annoying when they throw out a cliche.
It's also annoying that, like, again, one of my favourite characters, and his job has basically been go to a library and find out how we destroy these things. And it's like, well, yeah, I get that he's the right person to do that, but it's not going to make for a particularly riveting story.
We also know how to kill them.
Yeah, but I guess we
Dragonglass.
Yeah, but I guess we need a better way to kill more of them quicker.
It's just going to be Dragonfire.
Yeah.
There's going to be a throwaway scene next series where he goes, oh, the fire of dragons kills them.
If only dragons existed.
We don't have any dragons.
Yeah, and then Daenerys will rock up.
Yep.
But yeah, that was the only thing in the finale that I felt was out of place. Everything else for me was good.
What did you think about the Arya scene? Because we sort of loosely mentioned that it happened.
Yeah, so the Arya scene, for me, I was just relieved that they've finally given her something to do.
Okay.
That was it. Like, and I thought that reveal was really good. Like, yeah. Again, it's a character that we know is pretty wicked and dastardly. That point's been hammered home countless times. The only thing I think is a shame is there's a good scene, I think it was either this episode or the last, where this episode, where Jaime Lannister is kind of slyly threatening him.
Oh, yeah.
Which I thought that would play out quite interestingly, because we know that Walder Frey would react to that in not a nice way, should we say. And I was curious to see how that plan would formulate and play out next season, which now isn't going to happen because Arya dealt with it.
It would have been interesting, but it also would have been kind of it would have felt like filler, I think, if they'd done that.
Possibly, yeah. It depends.
We're getting to a point where the stuff that's got to get resolved is the core storyline now.
Yeah.
I think we're past. Well, there's still going to be like side plots, but we're getting to a point where if they regurgitate stuff, so we've seen Walder Frey do that.
Yeah,
it would kind of feel annoying to watch another scene of Walder Frey. Also, everyone knows that he did it.
That is true.
So, like, if Cersei was like, "Oh, Walder Frey's invited us to a feast," and Jaime was like, "Oh, okay."
There was one point where I did wonder if we were going to get like a Red Wedding Part 2, because it did feel like Jaime and his men were in danger at some point. Like, it felt like the tables could have turned on them.
Yeah, I think the thing though is that the reason it worked on Robb is because Robb was a new king.
Yeah.
His men weren't particularly they were loyal to him, but they weren't necessarily
well-versed.
as loyal.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like if you fuck with the Lannisters,
oh yeah,
there's no way Walder Frey comes out of it and goes, "I've won."
No,
even if he kills all of Jaime's army.
Yeah,
and so it's now the whole of King's Landing's after you.
Yeah. So what I thought about the Arya thing,
yeah,
I liked that whole stuff with the pie.
Yep,
I thought that was a great reveal. Her just taking off her face. I get that she's learned how to do that, but I kind of don't fully understand the rules about that, if that makes sense.
She has to have killed someone.
Yes, she has to have killed an essentially innocent person, potentially, taken their face and worn it.
Or she might, to be fair, she could have stolen it from, because we don't know we've not seen what actually...
No, so she could have stolen it from the temple that she was...
Yeah, because the only thing, correct me if I'm wrong, but the conclusion we had to that was she saw the many-faced man again.
Yeah.
And he was like, "You finally have no name."
Yes.
And she said, "No, I'm Arya Stark.
And I'm going home."
Yeah. And that was all we saw. So they're she could have stolen faces, I guess.
It just seems odd that she'd kind of sail back to Westeros with a bunch of faces in her purse.
Well, no, that's her whole thing. That's what her thing's going to be. She's now an assassin.
Yeah, no, I get that. Assassin. It just seems odd that she would have taken a load of faces with her. Where'd you store them?
In a bag.
It just seems odd to me.
The faces aren't particularly big, Liam. They're like bits of their skin. They're just skin. Yeah.
And you've got to preserve them, I guess.
I assume there's something they do in that temple to preserve the faces, Liam, because they had thousands.
Yeah, in the temple, yeah, but then you got to... I'm sure that there's some upkeep required.
It's fucking magic.
That's true.
This is an interesting sort of point to the magic of Game of Thrones, I guess. Right? I saw something about, not necessarily about Game of Thrones, but about magic in fantasy.
Okay.
And there's basically two ways to tackle it, right?
Yeah.
You've got what a lot of things do, which is you establish the rules and you explain the magic, right?
Yeah.
So Game of Thrones doesn't really do that. Game of Thrones does the opposite, which is the magic exists. We're not going to explain the rules to you, but trust us, it is there. And then they just do things and they go, no, it's magic, isn't it? Which to me is kind of... I'm not as big a fan of that. So like you say, like, how is she preserving the faces? I would like it if we'd had a scene where she was preparing the bodies, where it was just like a throwaway comment about how their magic worked or something.
Yeah.
And the same with the Red Witch. Like, I'd like to understand that magic.
Yeah, definitely.
Because so far we know that she can bring people back to life and also summon smoke monsters from her vagina.
Yes. Well, smoke assassins.
Sorry, smoke assassins.
Yeah.
Which is all a little bit like, oh, okay, why? How? Is their god real? We don't know. Like, and then they even go to the point where it's like, oh, so what can you do? And she's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I kind of just do magic.
I did enjoy her, like, Crisis of Faith this season.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so the Arya stuff, how did you feel about it?
I quite liked it. I was just seeing, like, I wondered if it was, if you thought the same.
Yeah,
I quite enjoyed it.
So relieved.
I'm glad she's back, and I'm hoping she'll go on some sort of weird rampage.
Yeah. Well, she's got her list to work through, hasn't she?
Yeah. I don't think she will, though. I think it's going to be a very... I think she'll do, like, a couple of assassinations, and we'll be like, oh...
I know, I think they've made such a big point about that list, and it's kind of... Although we haven't seen her, like, reciting it lately, it is basically the reason that she spent however long training to do whatever it is.
Yeah, true.
So it would be weird for her to just abandon that, I think. But Who's
even left on the list?
Well, the one that I'm currently most curious to see dealt with is the Mountain.
Yep.
And I think Cersei and Jaime might be on the list as well.
Yep. Is the Hound on there?
Yes.
But she thinks she killed him.
Yes. So, right, I've got two more things that I really liked about this season.
Yep, go on.
So the first is the Hound returning.
Yep.
Because while it was kind of rumoured, I don't think it was as obvious as the Jon Snow stuff.
Yeah, I don't think it was. I think
no.
We all sort of knew it because there was the whole, like, he traditionally kills people on screen, if you will.
Yes.
And in the books and the TV show, I believe the death was never explicitly said. It was just that sort of same scene.
Although we did have two deaths this season that weren't on... Well, not this season, sorry. But we've had two recent deaths that weren't shown, but we were told about.
Who?
So we had Brienne when she killed Stannis.
Yep.
And we had the... What's his name? Blackfish? Was that his name? The guy that Jaime had to go and get out of the siege, basically.
But they're not main characters. I guess the rule is more main character based.
Well, Stannis was pretty main, but we are kind of...
Not anymore. Like, Stannis, again, felt like he'd reached the end of his storyline.
Yeah, and that is reconfirmed when it is actually brought up, I think, this season, when Brienne does confirm that she definitely did kill him.
Yeah. Whereas the Hound was always like, it felt like there was more to him,
yeah.
And then we didn't see him die.
What I quite liked about that episode is straight out the gate, we saw him return. They didn't, like, tease us with it or anything. It was boom, he's back, this is awesome.
I also really liked what they've done with him. Like,
yeah. Him trying to find peace.
Because I found it fascinating in... Was it series 1 or 2 where, like, he helped Sansa?
Yes, that's the second season.
And it was very, like, that whole time we'd been like, oh, the Hound's bad. And then we had that scene and it's like, wait, why is he helping her?
Yeah, and then like, him with Arya is like buddy cops.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And I love
stuff.
that they've sort of... Like, clearly he was a bad guy. And then we have that whole scene of him being like, I've done horrible things.
Yeah.
And then they're like, yeah, but you can sort of... Like, you can't necessarily redeem yourself, but you can do good from now on.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's... I love that. I love redemption stories.
Yeah. I'm really curious. So I think it's going to be curious seeing what they do with him next. And I feel like his is one of the storylines that they didn't necessarily resolve this season in a way... Not like resolve, but like leave in a way where you're kind of curious what's going to happen next. It was just sort of dropped, if that makes sense.
Yeah. They sort of set up for stuff to happen in the future.
Yeah. The other scene that I quite liked was the Daenerys versus the Dothraki, where she burns them all down and steps out. And I remember there's been a lot of talk over the last couple of years with Emilia Clarke saying she was uncomfortable doing nudity on the show, and she felt like there was a disproportionate amount of female nudity to male nudity.
Yeah.
So for her to kind of get naked again was, I thought, interesting and also not unwelcome.
Yep, there we go. I was waiting for you to do a bit that you're going to have to cut out.
Well, I don't have to cut that out.
You definitely do.
Why?
You just being fucking creepy.
That's fine.
Alright, fine. You're editing, you can leave it in.
Yeah. How should I say that that's less creepy then?
Maybe don't even mention the fact that you were aroused by her boobs.
No, I didn't say I was aroused. I just thought it was good to see him again.
I think everyone knew what you meant, Liam.
I'm just saying, it was good. And I thought it was bold of Emilia Clarke to be like, bam, they're back out, guys. Deal with it. Keeping that as well. The only other stuff I liked, which wasn't like major, but I just enjoyed it, was the scene with Bronn and Pod.
Yeah, that was a good scene.
But I think when you
I just love Bronn and Pod.
Yeah, but when you think we've had like 10 episodes, an hour long each, couple were longer. It's not a long list of likes when you think about it.
No, yeah, that's my thing. I don't know how much this series has done compared to other series.
So, okay, let's talk about what we didn't like, and I'm going to let you sort of lead the charge on this, because I feel like you maybe felt stronger with what you didn't like than I did, perhaps?
I don't know. I mean, it's mainly that Battle of the Bastards stuff I didn't particularly like.
Okay.
I didn't like the way some things have been ended sort of abruptly, like my issue with the High Sparrow.
One thing I would say about the Battle of the Bastards that I didn't like was I felt like the whole episode should have taken place in the north. I don't think we should have been jumping back to wherever Daenerys was.
Yeah.
I
mean, it's also with that battle is the whole, like, the cavalry coming at the end to save everyone.
Very Lord of the Rings, right?
It just looked exactly like the fucking Two Towers scene.
Yeah.
Like, literally, he looks to the west. It might not have been the west, but it was literally like, Jon's like, and then the cavalry show up, and you're like, oh, really? Like, you couldn't have done this... So you couldn't think of a better way to do this?
I was talking to someone today about this, and they were saying how they're very curious why the walkers are such a threat, because it's been established now that they can't get through the wall because there's magic protecting them. And I was like, yeah, but since they're now taking leaves out of Lord of the Rings, surely they'll just summon a load of eagles and fly over the wall.
It's going to be now that the walls are manned, they can get through.
I wonder if it's going to be...
Or it's the wall's magic, but the gate itself is a weak point in the magic.
Or, now that the Night King has touched Bran, if Bran was to travel through the wall, would that somehow unravel the magic?
Oh, that's true. They did sort of establish that would happen.
So, that's the other theory.
I mean, yeah, there's definitely ways around it. I don't think it's going to be like... I hope it doesn't have like, the end of the last series is they're like, now we have to deal with the White Walkers, and then they look over the wall and they go, oh, magic wall, and all the White Walkers are standing there like, we really fucked this one up, boys.
They're just like all queuing on the other side, like,
do you want to let us through?
Nah.
No. Oh, damn it.
What... A thing that I don't think I particularly liked was, while I thought it was really interesting, Bran being able to go back and having Max von Sydow as the three-eyed raven, one, he was gotten rid of far too quickly. When you consider he was revealed like 2 seasons ago, and then we had to wait a season because they couldn't do anything with that storyline. For him to just get taken out of it so quickly was frustrating.
Yeah, I get why they did that.
Yeah, I just personally would have liked to have seen more of him.
It would be less interesting. Like, the fact that led to the scene of him being like, Bran being like, so, like, what do I do? And he's like, well, now you're the three-eyed raven. And he's like, but I'm not ready. And he's like, no, you aren't.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah, I find Bran very frustrating.
I like Bran. I've come round. I like Bran now.
I
jumped off that hate Bran train. Everyone got on it. I'm done with the hating Bran. I'm alright with it.
Well, he's...
Like, I don't know, what do you not like about him?
I think it's because I know that he's going to play a very important part in the end of the show. It's just getting there has felt really torturous. And I've always liked the characters he's with more so than him. So, like, loved Hodor. I can't remember the guy's name, but it's his sister who he's currently with.
Yeah.
Really, again, like the sister. Bran himself, I don't know. I've just never really been able to get on board with him.
I can see it.
I
think I've just... Maybe it's just that I've come to accept what Bran's storyline is at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I like that they're using him to show these important things from the past.
Yeah.
And one of the big theories was pretty much confirmed in the finale with Jon Snow's heritage.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I'm really struggling. I think it's as well as Bran being a little bit too cocky for his own good at times. So
it's not, though.
Right, I'm sorry. When he starts walking and the Night King touches him, which basically fucks everything up for everyone, that's Bran being cocky.
That's not him being cocky. No, that he wasn't warned that the Night King would be able to touch him in the dream. As far as he's aware, right, the dreams and, like, prophecy things he's having are just that. Like,
was there not one where...
He gets hints that maybe there's something else going on. The fact that Ned almost, like, perceives he's there.
Is there not one where one of the walkers turns and looks at him?
That's the same one, isn't it?
Is it the same one? I couldn't remember.
Yeah, because the Night King turns around and stares at Bran, and Bran's like, what? And then he grabs him.
Okay.
Is that not the same? There might have been another one, I don't really
I thought there might have been another one where someone looks, like a walker looks at him.
Oh, maybe. But even then, like, I don't think it's cockiness. I just think you hate Bran. I think everyone's decided they hate Bran, and it's very easy to, once you hate a character, just then to keep hating them.
Possibly. I also just love Hodor, and I blame Bran entirely for Hodor's death.
It's not Bran, it's Mira that kills Hodor.
Do you think?
Yeah, 100%. Because Bran is like partially unconscious, trapped in one of the dream fantasy whatever Majugals.
Yeah, but it was
and it's her that's shouting.
Yeah. But it was because Bran got touched that the Walkers found them and started attacking.
Yeah, all right. Well, then it's the old man's fault for being trapped in a fucking tree.
I mean, is that his fault?
Yes.
Okay.
Bran wasn't stuck in a tree.
I feel like you're very defensive of Bran for some reason.
Raisin? I just said he's the three-eyed raisin.
Yeah, I feel like you're being...
Which is definitely not what he is.
No, I don't understand why you're being so defensive of him.
Because I don't understand why everyone... Because I think everyone's just snap-judged Bran.
Okay.
Is my logic.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because I get why people hated him in the first few series.
Yeah.
I liked him in series 1. And then I get that everyone was like, he got really mopey in series 2.
Yeah.
And I was like, yep, I'm with everyone else. And then it just feels like everyone's just stuck on the hating Bran thing.
Yeah, like, again, another character that I loved who was with him was, I can't remember, the actress who plays Tonks in Harry Potter.
Yeah, the Wildling.
Yeah, and it was this season where she was killed by Ramsay, wasn't it?
Yes.
Which was, again, very... it was an interesting scene, but not like, oh, I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Which I think is my kind of overall feeling of the show. I was like, there was a lot of it where I was like, that was fine, but there was none of it where I was like, that was absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
And because we've had quite a few absolutely incredible moments from the show in the past, that's the issue I think I'm finding with this season.
Yeah, it feels like it's gone downhill, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, because it's gone downhill from an incredible show.
Exactly.
So it is difficult. But yeah, I am sort of swaying towards that. This series was not one of the best series. Yeah.
Was there anything else that you particularly didn't like?
I think I had something. Then we carried on talking. I forgot what it was.
How did you feel about Tommen and his ending?
Which one's he?
Tommen was the king, Cersei's son.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Brought a whole new meaning to King's Landing.
I was indifferent to the whole thing.
I thought it was filmed very well.
Yep.
A lot of people don't like him and they thought it was a bit of a wet blanket and very easily manipulated. I felt quite sorry for him because I feel like
he was the reasonable son out of Joffrey and him.
I feel like if he'd have just had like a good advisor who actually had his best interests at heart, he could have been a good king.
Oh yeah, no, that's what it is. It is literally, if all of the other shit hadn't been going on, Tommen would have been the correct king.
Yes, but he was just
because
manipulated.
So much other stuff went down. He was like trapped in this trap between two people.
Yeah, and I feel like
tricked by everyone.
Yeah, I feel like his manipulation you can easily just put down to his age. Like he was too young for that, and people took advantage of him.
Yeah.
So I don't hate him at all.
No,
I just feel very sorry for him. So when he was like, right, my only way out of this is to kill myself, that I thought was kind of tragic.
It is, yeah, but it also, like, as much as I'm like he would have been a great king, he also wasn't like an interesting character to me.
Okay, fair enough.
Because it felt like his character was basically there to be the pawn that everyone's trying to manipulate.
So, how do you feel about Cersei?
I like Cersei as a character.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how I feel about this whole she's now the queen of King's Landing.
It feels
I don't know what my opinion is on that. It's not great. I liked her new outfit.
Yeah, very celebrated.
Because she looks badass.
Yeah, I feel like what the show did this season was it basically got rid of a lot of its villains. So High Sparrow gone, Ramsay gone, Walder Frey gone. I'd say the only villains we really have left is Theon and his sister, their uncle.
Yep.
And now Cersei.
Yeah.
And the thing with Cersei is we've had a lot of time where we've always known she's kind of quite vindictive, quite mean, but I'd say never like out and out evil. And
not compared to like her dad.
Yeah, and you always know what she's doing is for her kids.
Yeah, so what's the point of her now?
Exactly. So it seems weird for me that suddenly her like mind frame has switched from, oh well, now I'm not doing it for my kids, now I'm just doing it because I want all the power. Like,
yeah, exactly.
I don't quite buy the suddenness of that transition. And the fact that I thought she would have reacted very differently to Tommen's death, but she seemed...
Yeah, considering she like wept for her daughter.
Yes, and even Joffrey.
Yeah.
It felt very much like, oh, fine. And again, when we're talking about predictability, we knew Tommen was going to die because of that prophecy.
Yes, yeah.
So, while I didn't know he would commit suicide, I had a fairly strong feeling going into this episode he wouldn't make it out.
Yep.
I thought she'd be more directly responsible for his death.
I mean, in a way she is.
She is, but I thought he would have actually gone up in the explosion.
Yeah, fair enough.
So that I still thought was interesting. But yeah, I really like her character. I love it when she's a badass. I love it when she had the religious woman, who was basically torturing her.
Oh yeah, that scene was great.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, what is under the mountain's helmet?
Well, he is dead.
Because we saw, I know, but we saw like the outline of it, and he looks deformed, right?
Yeah.
But when that lady saw his face,
oh yeah, she was screaming.
She was not happy.
No, and considering the last time the Mountain raped someone, he split her in two. If he gets a bit rapey, could you imagine?
Well, I don't think that he's going to get particularly rapey. He feels like he's an undead servant that doesn't seem to have many thoughts of his own.
No, but a really interesting kind of. Again, it's like what you're saying about you don't understand how the rules of the magic work in the show.
Yes.
That's another example of a different kind of magic. This is more science-based, but
yeah,
still...
exactly. It's weird because I don't know what the maesters are meant to be.
No.
Because I thought there was the implication that they had some sort of magic.
Yeah.
And then this guy that's now her maester was doing something evil, which is this whole resurrecting the dead.
Yeah.
But then, again, it's never clear on what is happening. Like,
no.
It's another thing they're doing, and they're like, trust us, this happens, and they're not even remotely trying to explain it to us.
Yeah. So anything else that you didn't like?
Not necessarily that I didn't like, but there is something that I wanted to talk about that we haven't talked about that I've suddenly remembered.
Okay.
I have, this series, really enjoyed the Iron Isle stuff. I don't know why. I was so indifferent to them before. It felt really obvious what they were.
Yeah.
And now with this whole Theon and his sister being one faction and their uncle being the other, I'm back invested in the Iron Isles.
See, I've been struggling. Like, I really liked what they did with Theon when they just destroyed him. And I feel like I get why they're bouncing him back, but to me, I'm not quite buying into it. Like,
but he's not the one I'm invested in.
No, you like the sister, right?
Mainly because I genuinely think she's like badass.
She is.
Like that scene with her and Dany
was really good.
Yeah, where she does the like warrior's handshake.
Yes.
The scenes where she's been in brothels and she's basically one of the lads, and you're like,
no, but like she's also that scene where she's just flirting with Dany.
Yes, yeah.
Like I get where you're coming from. She isn't. I like that aspect to her, but I don't like much else.
She's like the we've got badass women in this show.
Yeah.
Cersei is badass. Daenerys is badass.
Yeah.
Brienne is badass. Arya's badass. Sansa's getting badass.
She's getting it. Well, I'd say less badass, but she's learning how to play the game.
She's playing the game, yeah. But like this is the first like queen, because she is aiming to be Queen of the Iron Isles.
Yeah.
Like she's the first queen that, whilst being badass, is just like a tough. You know, she's basically a pirate badass, which is awesome. I love pirates. I think they're cool. The fantasy version of pirates.
Okay.
And I don't know. I just really like the whole Iron Isle stuff.
Yeah,
I love that. I love that there as well. We've got so much fucking like myth and stuff going on in Game of Thrones, where there's like the Seven, the Fire God, and all of it is like we're not seeing anything to do with these like religions or their ceremonies or like what their magic is. But with the Iron Isles, it's very simply like, oh, our god drowned. He hates us.
Yeah.
And to anoint a new king, we have to drown him first. And
yeah,
I'm like,
fuck that.
I was like, that's such a badass scene.
Fuck that, though. What an initiation process.
Yeah. You have to literally be drowned, and then they can't bring you back. You have to literally just hope your body kicks back to life.
Yeah. Oh, fuck that.
I wonder how many kings they've lost in their history.
At what stage do they go, oh, shit, this isn't working?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I wonder if there have been whole family lines that they're like, well,
we
tried.
The
oldest, so we'll try you.
Yeah.
No, he's dead. You're second. Just like family lines of being like, oh, I hope it doesn't get to me.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I get what you're saying. I like this. I
think they've just got more interesting this series.
Yeah, although personally, I have zero interest in what's happening with the uncle.
Yeah, he's just there to be a
threat,
an enemy. I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the problem is at this life cycle of the show, it's too late to be bringing in someone new and developing them in a satisfying way, I think.
Yeah.
So he will just come in back and he's like one-dimensional. I'm bad. I'm against you. And,
yeah.
You know, do we need it?
No, I agree. I'm just more interested in them as a people.
Yeah.
I like the idea of the Iron Isles.
Yeah, I'm really struggling with Theon's kind of. Like,
I like Theon.
I like that he's kind of refinding his sense of worth, and I liked that scene in the brothel where she was like, "Look, I need you to either man the fuck up or fuck off," basically.
Yeah.
I
also liked the scene with Daenerys where they were like, "Oh, I guess you want me to back you in your like goal to be king.
Yeah.
And he's like, no.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like what I would like to see is more psychological ramifications of what he's endured.
But we've had the psychological ramifications.
But it feels like they're pushing him down now, and I don't want it to just be forgotten about.
Because we've gone through. I don't think they'll forget about it. There's probably going to be scenes where shit goes down.
That's what I'm hoping. Because I mean, we haven't really seen. What I'd be curious to see is his reaction to finding out that Ramsay has been killed.
Yes. Yeah.
So that leads us quite nicely on to what we would like to see next season, or at least in the future of this show.
Okay, what I want, Liam.
Yes.
It's very simple.
Yeah.
I want a spin-off series.
Okay.
Called The Chronicles of the Onion Knight.
Yeah.
And it to just be an hour-long episode of Sir Davos talking to me.
He is great, and that scene with him and Melisandre in the finale.
I'd forgotten that he didn't know that the daughter had been killed.
Right, and this is... No, he didn't, and this is one of the things...
Because I'd forgotten that.
The writing of this season has been all over the place, because there's been some amazing scenes, like the scene with Tyrion and Daenerys, amazing. But then, Davos, the night before a battle, has a bit of a squirmy belly, needs to do a shit, is walking around, and just happens across the burning site of where Shireen was, and happens to find that toy. I'm sorry, that's not good writing.
No, it's not. But it did lead to a badass scene of Sir Davos.
It did, but...
Because I love him so goddamn much.
I could forgive, like, one, maybe two badly written scenes, but there was a couple. Like, another one immediately swings to mind. There was a scene where Arya, a couple of episodes ago, she was trying to get out of... Is it Meereen or was it Braavos she was in?
Oh, shit, it was Braavos.
Braavos, okay.
Sorry, listeners, we've let you down.
So scene where she's trying to get out of Braavos, and people were commenting after the episode. It's the episode where she gets stabbed, right?
Yes, yeah.
And before that, she's waltzing around town, she's throwing money around, she's like, I want this ship and I want it to leave now. And she's being very uncharacteristically like her. And immediately after the episode, I read a theory that was saying it was that faceless man was imitating Arya to test the waif, because he said to the waif, don't let her suffer. And that scene where he stabs her and twists it. So I thought, right, that makes sense, because Arya is clearly acting differently. And the fact that she's then, like, once she's all stabbed, she's, like, walking around the town in front of everyone, very visible. It almost would have... If that theory had played out, it would have allowed real Arya to slip away unnoticed. So when it turned out that it was just badly written and they just, for some reason, decided to change her character... Badly written. Because, why it's badly written...
Okay, so, no. I don't think that's her acting out of character. Well, it is her acting out of character, but for a reason.
But why?
She's acting out of character because she's just spent 2 series learning how to pretend to be something she's not.
So then why is she waltzing around chucking money
like
about?
Because if she was acting like herself, she wouldn't have been able to book passage on a ship. So instead she takes the role of the overconfident whatever to get to do that.
I'm going to be honest.
That's what I think. I think the whole thing is she's been learning to pretend to be different people.
I don't think if that's the case.
Lazy writing.
If that's the case,
could be lazy writing.
Yeah, to me that's how it came across.
Right. That's fair enough. I get what you're saying. I'm just saying there could be.
Yeah.
That could be the reason. That's what I'm reading.
If that was the reason, it wasn't clear enough for me.
Fair enough.
And just there was a couple of scenes that were like I said, this that awful scene where the generals were being comedians and shit.
Yeah,
there was just,
I don't disagree with you. The writing has been
all over the place,
and not necessarily have been some poor scenes.
Yeah, but where I would like this to go next, the issue is, like we both said, we like it when it's unpredictable, right?
Yeah.
And what I fear is, it's pretty obvious that next season, Daenerys is finally going to get to Westeros, right?
Yep.
She's going to make her claim on the throne. I don't think Cersei's in a strong enough position to refute that when you look at the support that Daenerys has behind her.
Oh, they're going to go to war. It's not going to be...
Yeah, but like...
It won't be a one-sided thing.
No, but that war...
Daenerys only has half of her support, because she's not taking... She left someone behind. She left people behind, didn't she? No, that was me wishfully thinking. I remember now.
Yeah. She left one dude behind. That Dario guy. And also, she sent Jorah the Explorer, to go and find a cure for his grayscale.
Yeah.
Which...
I hope he doesn't get a cure, because he will.
I hope he doesn't.
Because they haven't made such a big deal.
Yeah.
If he wasn't getting a cure, they'd made more of a deal of his adventure so far.
Yeah.
Which is, very bullshit, lazy.
But yeah, so Daenerys, I think it's going to be a bit of a steamroll because she has a huge fucking...
No,
right.
No, because what's the point in them doing a steamroll?
But, right, think about it. She has a Dothraki army, yeah? She has an Unsullied army, right? She has the Tyrells. She has the Dornish people. She has fucking the Iron Isles ships and those people, right? And dragons. How is King's Landing going to stand up to that?
Because it's not just King's Landing.
Who else?
But here's the thing, right?
Right.
So the whole deal with last season, think about how big Ramsay's army was. And that wasn't a Lannister army. That was Ramsay by himself.
With support from the north, from various northern factions.
So that's just the north, right?
Yeah.
Which is the fucking north, and it's a cold wasteland.
Yeah.
Right? So King's Landing is not just King's Landing. You've got all the houses that haven't declared yet.
Right.
There's a lot of people that will be on her side. I guarantee that they're not going to do a steamroll. Right now, I'm calling it right now. There'll be a big battle next series between them, or at some point in the future, there will be a huge battle between Daenerys and Cersei. Daenerys will win.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be a steamroll. I don't think there's going to be like a scene where they've spent so much time fucking setting Cersei up as the queen. There's literally no one... If they kill Cersei off as queen very quickly, like, what's the point? That's the end of the Lannisters, effectively.
Well, this is the thing.
You just have Jaime.
Cersei is basically the only villain really left in the show now. And
that's what I mean. So, exactly. So she's a big villain, so they're not going to steamroll her out.
The thing is, I think, my prediction for what's going to happen is Jaime will kill Cersei. And if he does that before Daenerys comes or after, I don't fully know. But I see Jaime being the one that kills Cersei.
I can see that happening. But I think if they do, it will be after.
Because I think, by the end of the show, what I think will happen is Daenerys and Jon will team up to take down the Walkers.
I really hope... Like, this is my concern with the future of Game of Thrones.
Yeah. That's the obvious thing, right?
Yeah, and I don't want that.
No, exactly.
I think if the last series is a team-up between the remaining survivors against the White Walkers, I'm not interested.
No.
Well, that's going to be a very boring... Because that's so... Like, as much as I hate it when... I don't like it when the show's got a really obvious villain.
Yeah.
Like, so the Cersei stuff, like, I hope they keep doing them. Maybe she's got reasons and all that stuff, because I like that.
Yeah.
The White Walkers, they don't have a reason, because they are just death that wants to take everything out.
Okay, so here's the elements that have to fall into place by the end, right? Bran has to have some say in the ending, right? Surely.
Yeah.
Sam has to discover how to kill the Walkers and then get involved, right?
Yeah.
Jon and his sort of the northern faction has to... It's gonna be like the first line of defense against them now, right? If they get through the wall. So I think whoever takes the throne is not really of concern to Jon or whatever. So I think Daenerys will take that throne. So I think by the time we get to the final stretch, Jaime might still be knocking around. Cersei I don't think will be. I think Tyrion is expendable at this point. I think we will maybe have Arya going around and finishing off her list, but once it comes down to White Walkers, I don't really see how she's going to play into that. Sansa, again, I think Littlefinger is going to be a player up until the end, and Sansa will somehow stop him.
Yep.
But what her sort of role at the end is, I don't fully know. And, I mean, what else do we really... Like, who else do we really have? So there's Brienne, who will probably be a warrior.
Yeah, but so things like that, Brienne is not important. Like, there are characters that you know will have a major role, and there are characters that will have a role, and Brienne is going to have a role.
Exactly.
In that she will side with the Starks.
So would you say that's probably the major players taken care of there, then? Anyone I'm missing?
Not that I can think of.
So this is the thing.
But I don't know. If that is what happens, I get you.
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying. If that is what happens, I am going to be really disappointed. Because that is so generically obvious that I will be like, wow, thank you for stringing me along for... Honestly, I could see myself being like what I don't want to happen is a Lost situation, where at the end of Lost, everyone goes, wow, great. I loved that series, and then this happened. That's not me. I watched like 3 series and gave up.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I did.
I feel like this is where it's heading, but this is where it's felt like it's been heading for a couple of seasons now.
Yeah, but that's what's so good about Game of Thrones, is usually they don't, like... They've done the whole, this is where it's going, and then suddenly veered off course.
I know, but after this last season, I'm worried that we're going to get what we're expecting now. Because I guess at the beginning of this story, right, it's easy to start veering off course, because where they have veered off course, it hasn't massively impacted that end game. And the closer we get to that end game, I can't really see how they're gonna like do anything too surprising that would then affect that, because we have to get there at some point. The Walkers have to.
I mean, that is the point of a surprise, Liam. If you could accurately predict the surprises, then they would not be surprises.
But do you think we'll get a lot of surprises now?
I don't know. I really hope so. That's what. If we're talking about what we want to happen,
yeah.
I want it to be something that I'm not expecting. I want things to be different than we want. Than this.
So my question:
if it's where we think it's going to go,
yeah,
I think you're probably right.
Do you think that we could still get to where we think we're going to go, but they could still have surprises throughout? So, for example,
yeah, but I don't want that. I don't want minor surprises with the obvious outcome.
Okay, so
I want the whole thing. I want the end of this show to be a shock. I would be happy if the final episode, like legitimately, they won't do it, but I would love the final episode to be them losing and the White Walkers winning.
Yeah, they won't do that.
No, they won't. But I think that would be a surprise that I would love. I'd be like, holy shit, fantastic.
Again, I feel like that'd be a very unsatisfying ending.
No, you turn it into some metaphor for how everything falls apart when you're all playing the game, all that bullshit. Have a scene of Varys talking to Tyrion as Tyrion gets eaten.
Yeah.
It turns out Varys' balls are actually White Walkers.
I don't see that happening.
I don't know, like, this is the thing, it's not a case of what we see happening, because you've said what you think is going to happen, and
what
I
think is going to happen
on some things. Like, I disagree on the Cersei steamroll thing, but that's a minor part of it.
Yeah.
Like, the actual story-wise, I think you're probably right.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm saying is, if you are right, I'm going to be really fucking disappointed.
So, one other thing that I really want to see, and I wonder if we're going to get it, is the Mountain versus the Hound.
I think that's what we're going to get.
Do you think Arya will be involved in it? Because obviously both of them are on her list.
I can imagine something that I'd be okay with would be Arya trying to kill the Mountain and not being able to because he's an undead monster.
And the Hound getting involved.
Getting involved. That I could see happening and not being annoying.
Because I know
Arya killing the Mountain would kind of suck.
I would like to see the Arya versus the Mountain.
Yes, but I don't think she'll win it.
She shouldn't win it.
No.
Unless the Hound gets involved.
Exactly.
Because I know a lot of people were kind of gearing up for that to be this season with the whole trial by combat. They was expecting it to be the Mountain versus the Hound, but obviously how the Hound gets from where he is to there wasn't very clear.
And why he would fight for...
Exactly. So I'm pleased that theory kind of got quashed, but I can see... Like I do feel like it's something that does need to happen.
What's your opinion on... Because this is something that is like a theory that I've heard that I can see being correct.
Okay.
Which is, at the end of this show, Jon will be riding one of the dragons, Daenerys will be riding one of the dragons, and then the theory currently says Tyrion will be riding one of the dragons.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on that?
It's a theory that I've heard for a while. I think one of the dragons is going to die.
Okay.
So, that would explain, because I think Tyrion on top of a dragon just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, exactly. That's the bit of the theory that I always get. Like, I don't think I mean, it wouldn't be great, but I could see it if Jon.
So I think
got one because of the whole he's a Targaryen. That's fine. Yeah,
I think
but
what they
if
need
Tyrion
to
gets one, what's the fucking point?
Yeah, what they need to do, I think potentially next season, is show one of the dragons being defeated. Because at the moment, it is just like, well, Daenerys' answer is just send in the dragons.
Oh no, see, I reckon we'll get that on when the White Walkers finally invade, which might be next series.
That's what I'm saying.
Because that would be good, I think.
Yeah.
I like the idea of everyone being like the dragons are the be all end all.
Yeah.
And then the White Walkers killing a dragon.
Or killing it and then turning it.
Yes, exactly, yeah.
Which would be amazing. So yeah, what do I think
or
about...
they might already have White Walker dragons. Do we know what happened to all of the dead dragons?
No.
That'd be quite cool.
What I think about Jon potentially riding one, more believable than Tyrion.
Yeah, exactly. The Jon one at least makes sense, because you can do the whole... when he eventually figures out that he's actually a Targaryen.
Yeah.
Then that makes sense.
What I'm curious to see is how Jon and Daenerys... How that interaction between the two will play out. Like, will it be romantic? Will it be siblingly?
I mean, no, it won't be romantic.
Why not?
Because they're cousins.
Sorry? Cersei and Jaime?
Yes.
It's not going to stop the show.
One of the evil characters in the show.
Yeah, but they're
the
cousins,
whole thing with the Cersei-Jaime relationship, Liam, is that everyone is revolted by it.
Yeah,
I think it would be a really weird choice for Game of Thrones to be like, yeah, you know Jon Snow, that character that we brought back, you all fucking love. Daenerys, who you all fucking love. Here's the reason that you shouldn't like them.
Would it be interesting if, right, because at the moment the only person that really knows their cousins is Bran. So what if he's given a choice of telling them they've met and fallen for each other and he doesn't tell them?
The mistake you're making there, Liam, is you're trying to implement one of your weird fucking teen films into this, where you have a scene where they like kiss and then later on someone's like, dude, she's your cousin. And then Jon's like, oh my god. And he has to like throw up in a corner and everyone laughs. That would be bullshit and it would suck.
But what if Bran doesn't mention it and he just keeps that little dumb secret?
Why would Bran do that?
Why would he tell him? What if they don't?
Because that's how you lead to Jon being on a fucking dragon.
Yeah, but if they're already together and she's like, "Here's a dragon," and then Bran just comes along, actually, you guys are related. That's just gonna make people hate Bran even more.
No, what are you talking about?
What I'm
saying you think that cousins are allowed to have sex if they don't know they're cousins?
In Game of Thrones?
No. That's not. I'm not letting you worm out of this one, Liam.
Right?
Because you're saying that the fans would hate Bran for breaking up an incestuous relationship.
Yeah.
Right, okay. I disagree, because I think if fans saw Daenerys and Jon fucking and were like, oh god, they're cousins, I don't think they'd mind if another character went, yeah, guys, you can't actually do this because you're related.
Well,
that'd be fine. I don't think anyone would go, oh, fuck you, Bran. I was really into the cousin sex.
We'll have to wait and see, won't we?
That's just perverts like you.
We'll have to wait and see.
I'm shouting this very loudly. My roommate is definitely in.
I can't really think of what else I want from the next season. Like, specifically.
I want more White Walkers. I want more White Walkers. I want more dragons. And I want more Ser Bravos.
I could see next season ending with the Walkers getting through the wall.
Yes.
I think a lot of it will be all of the trouble of Westeros with everyone now vying for the throne, with Daenerys coming over and her claim to it.
Yep.
I don't really see what they're doing with Jon Snow. Like,
it'll be him preparing for the White Walker invasion.
Yeah, but equally, at some point, him and Daenerys have to meet, and I don't see yet if that could happen next season, or if it is going to be once the Walkers have invaded.
I think it will be a once the Walkers invaded thing.
Okay, which I think will be the last season.
Yeah.
Yes, like I said, the end of next season will be them getting through the wall. But
yeah, I think we're going to get a final. I reckon we'll get next series. We'll get either a second to last or last episode, which is another battle. I think it will be a battle based on the wall with Jon's new Northern Army, and I think they'll lose.
I don't think I want to see that again. Like, we've already seen an attack on the wall.
But I mean, someone's going to go and defend that wall, right? It's not just going to be.
I mean, it feels like a bit of a skeleton crew manning the Night's Watch at the moment.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So that's why I think Jon's going to go, like, build up his armies and go and help them, because it wouldn't make sense. Like, I get that we've had it before, but just from a like sense point of view, why would Jon be like, the White Walkers are going to invade? We need to stop them.
But fuck
and
the
why
wall.
would he not go and use? Why would he not use the one thing that we know has kept out White Walkers before?
Yeah, no, I get that.
It would be really weird if he just goes, nah.
Yeah, I just personally don't need a whole episode of it, because I feel like we're not going to see anything we haven't seen before.
To get the White Walkers into Westeros would have to be a big thing. They're not just going to do a throwaway, like, 5-minute scene where Jon goes and battles them and then we see them run away.
Yeah, I just can't think how they would do it differently to the last assault on the wall.
But that's the thing, they're White Walkers. It'll be like they could get past the wall. They might have a way past the wall and it'll be a battle from the back. I'm sure there's a way to do it that would be interesting.
I hope so. I more see a battle being taking place around King's Landing.
Yeah, I mean, that'll probably be the big centrepiece, right?
Yeah, but I feel like that has to happen early, because we can't have too much of Dany just sailing.
No, she's not going to land in King's Landing.
No, but
she's going to land in Westeros. There'll be battles all throughout. I think it's going to get very battle heavy.
Yeah, which I hope they can sustain the excitement of the battles, because at the moment, because they are so rare, I think when they do happen, they are quite thrilling.
Yeah.
Because we essentially get one a season, and some seasons we don't get that.
Yeah.
So if it's like becoming like, this episode is the battle of this place.
I don't think it'll be every episode, but I mean, I think there will be battles next series. I think Daenerys is going to be taking the south and slowly, like, building up Arya in Westeros.
Yeah.
Then it will end with the battle for King's Landing, or possibly, like, that'll be a big centrepiece to the ending, and then possibly a battle at the wall.
One thing I could see, potentially, then, I'm just going to throw this out there. Jaime kills Cersei, maybe in front of, like, Daenerys, and Daenerys is, like, contemplating killing Jaime, and Tyrion steps in and sort of talks her out of it and essentially saves Jaime's life.
Yeah, I could see that. Again, though, a lot of this stuff I'm not excited about us talking about.
No, because it's
like,
predictable.
If the stuff we're talking about... exactly, yeah. The stuff that we're predicting, I really hope doesn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, what we're saying here aren't, like, really outlandish theories based on...
Yeah.
Like, small things we've noticed. They're things that feel like they would be obvious.
What I really want is the final episode of the whole thing to be the peasants rising up and just going, yeah, we're kind of fed up with kings because you've really fucked everything up for 6 series.
Well, it'll be 7 by then, won't it? Or 8 by the last
8.
one.
And they just go, it's time for us to have an actual council. And then all the heroes go, no, we like kings, and they just kill them all. And then the White Walker, the Night King, goes, "That's all I ever wanted," and goes north again.
That's the thing. Like, I can't see how this show has a happy ending.
No,
like it shouldn't.
I'm fine with it. Yeah, I'm fine with it not. I think the whole point is going to be they're going to be a message at the end about the game.
It just slowly pans out, and it's like two kids playing a Game of Thrones board game, and that the whole thing has just been a marketing advertising for a board game.
Liam. Even better, you get a scene at the end where John's standing at the wall, Benjen's over the other side, and he goes, "John, come with me, there's something I have to show you." They go north a bit, and then they're looking out, and John's like, "What's that?" And then the big locker door opens, and it turns out that they're just trapped in a marble.
In a marble?
Men in Black reference.
Oh. It's been years since I've seen Men in Black.
We're not doing a Men in Black special, Liam. I don't know why you brought it up.
You brought it up.
Let's wrap this thing up, Liam.
Yeah. I don't know how.
What were your... Right, okay. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
So, Liam, we've discussed the whole show.
Yeah.
So, at the beginning, you asked me what I thought of this show.
Yes.
I asked you to give me a bit of time to have a think about it.
Yeah. We had a big discussion.
Before we say what we think,
yeah,
we did have another bit of listener feedback.
Oh, yeah, we did.
Told to us 10 minutes before the show.
Yeah.
By someone who was trying to comment on the other thing, but he missed that recording, didn't you, Tom? So, Tom says he doesn't watch Game of Thrones, but from what he's heard, people liked this episode. Or they didn't. This series, even.
Yeah.
So, good job, Tom.
We appreciate that.
Thanks for that feedback, Tom. What did you think of this episode, Liam?
Wow, what a segue.
Yeah, fuck you.
That was really well done, Jack.
I did it really good, and then you distracted it.
I thought this season...
That's true, yeah. Liam.
Yeah?
What did you think about this season? Give it a number. Give me out of 5. We've had time to think about it. What do you give this season of Game of Thrones?
I'm torn. I'm going to be generous, and I'm going to say 3.5 out of 5, but, like, only just.
Yeah.
Only
I'm the
just.
same. I'm also a 3.5.
Yeah. I could have easily given it a 3 if I'd have been in a bad mood.
Yeah. I think if we weren't factoring in the rest of our opinions on Game of Thrones, I could easily have given it a 3.
Yeah. I mean, and that's not to say, there was a fair amount to like, but it never reached the peak that Game of Thrones has reached in past seasons. And not just like there's been one really good episode. Most of the previous seasons have had at least one peak episode.
Yeah.
So it never quite reached that, and it did really suffer from predictability, which might just be a curse that the show has going forward. As, like I said, if we look back at that jigsaw puzzle analogy, as more of the pieces fall into place, we're going to get a clearer view of what that final picture is.
Yeah.
Which I guess the show can't really avoid unless it just threw a tantrum and flipped a table and started again with all the pieces. But yeah, this was just a tangent. I don't really know where I was going with it.
I just thought I'd let you wander down your little tangent road.
Sometimes it's nice to just go down these little thought paths because they lead to places, and sometimes you think they're going to lead to somewhere, but then you get distracted with jigsaw puzzles. And
it's like, how sometimes parents just film their kids doing stupid shit.
Yeah,
it's like that's how I feel sometimes. Like, you start saying stuff, and I'm like, I don't know what he's doing, but I'm sure it'll be interesting.
I think there's a 50-50 chance that it will pan out, and sometimes 50% of the time it doesn't.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, that's pretty good numbers, I'd say.
Very good, Liam. So there you go, folks. We're
Yeah.
both 3.5s. Factor it into our scale adjustments, whatever bullshit we have to do now. But there you go.
We haven't done that for a while. I don't know if we really need to reference that again. It's been
Liam scale
months.
stupid.
It's been absolutely months since we referenced that. Don't know why you're bringing it back up.
Liam watched all 3 Santa Claus films.
What I would say is...
Bye!
What I would be curious is seeing this season after rewatching the others to see if it compares, because it might be that it's been quite clever and has tied things up that have been sort of dropped in previous seasons that I haven't quite considered.
Well, I want to go back, probably once it's all done, to be fair.
Yeah.
Go back and watch and be like, oh, how did they, like, see whether there are things that do point towards endings and stuff. Like, because the Jon Snow thing clearly has hints throughout.
Yeah, but there's also things that they have just dropped that's frustrating.
Yeah.
Like Gendry. Where the fuck is Gendry?
Bye.
Bye.